All right, what's up, y'all? Will here with Schedule Fly, and this is the Restaurant Owners Uncorked podcast, brought to you by us here at Schedule Fly. Super simple, web-based restaurant employee scheduling software backed by legendary customer service. Like literally, my phone number's on the website. Call it, you'll get me on my flip phone. We can talk about Schedule Fly or whatever you want. You can text me too. But seriously, legendary customer service and a low price point. We have never raised our prices in, well, almost 19 years in business now. So 30-day free trial. Look, if your restaurant's on paper, Excel, Google Sheets, give us a look. It'll make life easier from everybody, from the owner to the managers, and definitely the employees who these days expect to have everything at their fingertips on their phones. And if you're on another scheduling software and you're happy, keep doing what you're doing. If you're paying a lot of money and not using all the bells and whistles, we can keep it simple for you, save you money, and make life real easy. So 30-day free trial, schedulefly.com. My number's on there. I'd love to talk to you anytime. Give me a shout. And that is enough about Schedule Fly. Let's get into Restaurant Owners Uncorked. We're here at the awesome, world famous Everybody Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina today. And I just got a chance for the first time to meet my new old friend, Deric. Dude, we're excited. Deric, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for having me, Will. My name's Deric Rosenbaum. I am the president and CTO of Groucho's Deli.
President and CTO of Groucho's Deli, which is a legendary place, 85 years in business here in the Carolinas. So, okay, well, as I said beforehand, the only thing I always ask is just tell me how it all got started. How did you get into hospitality initially?
So hospitality was not my first career.
Okay.
My first career was in commercial construction.
All
I was
right.
project manager superintendent for a big general contractor where I'm from. And catering halls, restaurants, doctor's offices, kind of everything in between. Did all that. Did that for about 8 years. So like Jesus, I'm a trained carpenter. Um, fun fact, most people don't know about me. And then my partner is Bruce Miller. So he is Harold Groucho Miller's grandson,
Okay.
who is the founder of Groucho's Deli, founded in 1941. And like you said, we're celebrating 85 years in February. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Bruce and I were hanging out buddies, fishing buddies, beer drinking buddies, all the things that dudes do in their 20s. And we got to talking one day. And, at that time they had one location and they kind of had a second location, but it was still owned by the family but operated by somebody else. It was kind of like dipping their toe into the franchising world. And he's like, you know how to build restaurants. I know how to run restaurants. So we got together and opened up our first store. And then we opened up store 2, 3, and 4. And then 6 months into the first store, I was like, okay, I was doing both for a bit. I was like, I got to make a career choice here. So went hard in the paint on the hospitality side and kind of learned the business from within the four walls, mastered the accounting, the logistics, the people, managing people is managing people. I don't think it really matters if it's construction or restaurants. You're still managing people, problems, and processes.
Mm.
Kind of scaled it up to 8 stores at the time. And then we opened our own central distribution company. I wanted to learn the distribution side of our business and how all that worked. So we had our own refrigerator trucks. We had our teams. We were buying direct from manufacturers through redistributors like Dot Foods and some Pallet Plus deals through big broadline distributors. Learned everything I needed to learn about that business and then turned around and sold that to Cisco 3 years later and then kind of jumped into the role that I'm in now. And so operationalized, systemized, kept growing slowly but surely. We're a very controlled growth company. We're not looking to open thousands of units. That's just not who we are. And then kind of morphed into more of my technology role that I'm in today because, as you know, restaurants have evolved and all
Yeah.
the systems and processes have evolved. So that's my SparkNotes version of where I am today.
Where are you from?
Originally,
Yeah.
just outside Chicago, but I've been in Columbia, South Carolina since I was 5. So I'm definitely
Okay.
refried.
So you grew up in Columbia.
I did.
Okay. All right. Okay. So how many years, when was it that you started working with Groucho's?
2000.
2000.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on over 25 years now, right?
Yeah.
26 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the time, you've got this one location.
Correct. Our flagship store is still there today.
And it's is it downtown
It's
Columbia?
in 5 Points. Yeah,
It's in
right
Five
next to
Points?
University of South Carolina.
Okay. And Bill is third generation.
Bruce, but yes.
Bruce
Yeah,
is third generation. Bruce Miller. Okay.
correct.
Third generation. So he's running this thing. Um, and how many locations you all at now?
31.
Okay. That's awesome. I love that. I love the disciplined, controlled, measured growth part of this too. So we'll get into that. Well, that's an interesting transition from carpenter and construction into what you're doing now.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, and I've had this conversation a lot recently with people, like, I think everybody, if you distill yourself down to a singular word,
Mm,
what is it that you are? I'm a builder.
yeah,
I build systems, teams, processes, integrations. That's what I do.
you're a builder. Yeah, you built physical things, and then you've built I mean, not metaphorical, but virtual. I mean, building a team. All right, we're going to get into that too, because building a team and managing people is quite an interesting challenge.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
easy.
it's not easy. So you're a carpenter. So you could help me build my barn dominium podcast studio one day out at my farm.
Absolutely. Yeah, like last, I think right after Thanksgiving last year, we redid one of our original stores and
Uh-huh.
like completely flipped it on its head and spent hundreds of $1,000s on a renovation. And like I personally worked from there every single day. Like this was my pet project. Like oversaw everything, did a lot of the work myself just because I still enjoy working with my hands. But yeah, I still like to build physically as well.
So, okay, tell me about just sort of the fabric and the foundation and philosophy of Groucho's. I mean, I've read about it, but I want you to talk about this brand and what attracted you to this brand and why it's so special. Because it's clearly, I mean, I could tell out there when we were talking and you handed me a box of this gear, this is a very special brand and it's very special to you
Absolutely.
personally.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, Groucho's was founded in 1941 in Columbia, South Carolina by Harold, soon to be Groucho Miller. Moved here from Philadelphia. Uh, Short story, he grew up with lots of siblings. And, at the time in Philadelphia that he was poor, his parents were poor. So he spent a lot of time as a day child in the orphanage.
Hmm.
This is where he learned to cook and gather these recipes because, like, our potato salad and coleslaw are mustard based, which is not common for the South. These are true. I mean, the recipe has not really changed since that time. So he was driving a horse-drawn Abbott's milk truck in Philadelphia. Cars were coming around. This was the late 30s. Short story: car spooked horse backed up, cracked his ribs.
Oh,
The medical logic at the time was moved to a humid climate. He knew a few people in Columbia, South Carolina, up planted roots here, opened Miller's Delicatessen. This is the end of the vaudeville period, so the Marx Brothers were still very popular. And he smoked a cigar. He had a mustache. He had a brass sense of humor. He had this Philadelphia accent, and everyone immediately in Columbia started calling him Groucho. So the next year, we rebranded to Groucho's Deli. In our office, my partner's son found on eBay a matchbook from Miller's Delicatessen. Like it's literally crumbling apart. Like how this even made it, 86 years is unbelievable.
unbelievable.
It's like it's in a glass case, like hermetically sealed. Like we don't want it to get ruined. But yeah, so it was more a traditional Jewish deli, like meat and cheese counter at the time. And then fast forward many, 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 many years, his son got into the family business as well. And then my partner's mother, she's still with us. She helped run the business, and they had a satellite location in downtown Columbia for a little while. And they did all that. And then my partner got involved in the 90s. And at that time, we kind of morphed from a traditional meat and cheese counter and like specialty foods. Like we had specialty foods that you couldn't get elsewhere, but in a retail environment, and kind of got rid of all that and morphed into a full table service restaurant. Um, we're famous for our open faced dipper sandwiches and salads, and we have clubs. We have traditional deli as well, but we're really famous for our open faced dipper sandwiches, and they were kind of formulated during the space race in the 60s, and so we liken them to like a capsule getting dunked into our sauce. Like, dude, you got to come to my office. It's just like a museum. So, um, and then fast forward again, Bruce and I partnered up and kind of have evolved to what we are today. But I mean, to get to the root of your question, yeah, I mean, it's an honor and a privilege for me to carry that torch
Yeah.
and to honor. I mean, my job at the end of the day with the brand and with our franchisees and teams and operators and all of these things is like we like to say we adapt, we don't change. Like, how do we modernize and stay pace with what's happening in our systems and our ecosystems and how customers choose to engage with brands? I mean, it's completely omni-channel now. So how do we do that without losing the essence of what
Mm,
Groucho's is?
yeah.
And I mean, and that's a challenge, man. I mean, it's
Yep.
a real challenge, but I mean, it's a privilege and an honor. And, it's my job to commit to do these things. And, you'll find I'm not a person of half measures. I'm in or I'm out. And
Mm.
so I'm fully committed to doing that. And that's where the passion comes from.
What is the essence of what Groucho's is?
Community. Simple as
Community.
that.
Yeah.
Community.
Yeah. Which is rarer these days, um, and very much needed, which is probably why you're growing at a measured pace, because you can't scale that community love and loyalty quickly.
Oh, absolutely not. It takes time to build inroads in communities and become established and to become like one of our key tenets is we give back to the communities in which we serve,
Mm.
through various different we do it at a corporate level and then, obviously at the store levels. And, we encourage our franchisees to engage in that way, whether it's the Little League baseball team or a youth mission trip or, cancer charity. We do a lot with that. We do a lot of stuff with children's charities, especially special needs and medically complex children.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It takes a long time to build that, nurture that, and one of our core taglines that I preach constantly to my marketing team is like, "We are your neighborhood deli." Neighborhoods and communities go together, and we can raise all that up together if we do it right.
So when y'all, and how many of your stores are corporate owned?
3, so 10%.
10%, so just three.
Yeah,
Okay. So you started franchising fairly early on, over when you started growing, when you
correct.
came on. Okay.
I mean, I was like franchisee one ish. It's
Okay.
kind of gray area with that other store, but yeah. So I'm one of the first franchisees.
Why three? And then why did y'all start franchising when you did?
I mean, franchising is a great way to grow without being capital extensive, right? And then, but the problem is, you're dealing with other people's wants and needs. And, I liken franchising to getting married. Like sometimes you don't know what you have until you get married.
Mm.
Um, and, that's not unique to Groucho's. It certainly happens in all franchises, like this, you're buying a system and a process and a brand and a legacy. And, you're going to honor these standards and traditions, right? And so, translating that is super hard, but yeah, I mean, franchising is a great way to grow that's not capital extensive.
Franchise. How many franchisees do you have?
I don't know the exact number because there's different partnerships, but
Okay. But I mean, do you have like a lot of multi-unit operators or
very
single?
few. I mean, most of them are single units. I
Most of
mean,
them are
we
single
do
unit.
have some that own up to 3,
Okay.
or and sometimes they're like minority partners in others.
Okay.
An opportunity comes along,
And you're in, is it just the Carolinas?
we have one in Georgia and North Carolina, South Carolina.
Have you grown? I always been fascinated with this. Have you tried to deliberately grow sort of concentrically so that there's
Correct. We tried with one exception, and that one exception proved that we should have continued to grow.
where was the exception?
University of Delaware.
Okay. No brand recognition. Why did y'all do that one? Like, what was the appeal?
I mean, we let a franchisee convince us. And
Mm.
I mean, at the time, and, I mean, it was going well, but other things led to the demise. And, it's part of being in business is, you got to know when to pull the plug, right? And back
Yeah.
up and pivot. So,
Right.
but yes, I mean, if you walked into our conference room, there's a giant circular map and you can see it doing this. I mean, that's how we grow now.
Yeah, it seems like it makes a lot of sense because you've got some like, oh, I've heard of Groucho's, or
We get those inquiries all the time. But I mean, you have to be able to grow with your distribution too. I mean, you got to have economies of scale and distribution.
mm, economies of scale and distribution. Yeah. Okay. And then you're adding, how many locations do y'all add a year, roughly?
I mean, we did 2 last year.
Okay.
I
And is it
mean,
picking up, or is that pretty?
I mean, I think in a perfect world, we would like to do 1 a quarter, but I mean, that's not set in stone by any measure. Like, if it happens, it happens. Like, we have gotten a little more judicious about who we allow to franchise with us.
Mm.
So
How so?
we're not looking for belt buckle holders. Like, we want people that want to get in and operate and be part of their community.
Belt buckle. Oh, somebody that wants to put money in, let somebody else operate. Yeah.
We're done with the belt buckle holders.
Yeah.
So yeah, we want operators because, then you're actually part of that community. And, part of hospitality is what I call the art of the perceived relationship with your guests. And, you know, you can't duplicate that, I don't think, without a vested interest.
Dude, I could not agree more. I'm surprised at how many franchises allow franchisees that are just the money to come in and, oh, we'll just get this person to
See,
operate.
I mean, we have 100 people that want to give us money. Money is not an issue. I need
Yeah.
operators. I need genuine hospitality operators.
Well, you've seen this, I've seen this. We won't mention brand, but there are brands that scale very quickly, and it becomes very clear that that was a money grab by the franchisor, and then that the franchisees get left holding the bag.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've seen it time and time again. And like, what kills me is like, you'll go to a trade show and you meet another franchisor, and they're like, "Well, how many units do you have open, and what's in your pipeline?" And it's a very common question, whether it's another franchisee, whether it's your insurance broker, your lawyer, somebody you meet in the industry. Like, the common question is how many units you're going to open next year, and what's your 5-year plan? I've met people like, we have 17 open and 732 in development. I mean, what the hell does that even mean? First of all, and then like, why is that a rubric of success in this industry? I don't understand. The question should be, how many units did you successfully open and are still open today?
Amen.
I mean,
Amen.
that's a true measure of success.
Look, we're very philosophically aligned, right? Like there's the, in our world, it's the, heavily VC backed, taking this, rocket ship growth. And that's fine when like money's free and all that for a while. And then all of a sudden it's not. And then it's just the same thing in this world, in the restaurant world. Like, I mean, frankly, a lot of restaurants, franchise, independents, whatever, were open during a decade when money was basically free. And the market is starting to correct for that now,
Oh, 100%.
unfortunately. I mean, we're definitely seeing more closures than we've seen in a long time in our customer base. But the I mean, this is just like old school wisdom, right? It's like, do you want to chase the shiny and new, or do you want to just build something that's sustainable for 85 years and going? I mean, you guys will be here another 85 years, the Lindy effect. If it's been around that long, it'll be around that long. And a lot of these, I'm real skeptical of, like, I don't really like to attend. I have no knock on these trade shows. I don't want to, but it it's not my thing really, because there is a lot of that like flash. And a lot of the most successful businesses are the ones that are just under the radar, just
Doing it.
doing it, rolling up the sleeves, not talking about it, just doing it every day.
Amen.
Like understanding the foundations of the business, understanding. I mean, community can only be built by somebody that's in the community, that loves the community, that's invested in the community. And quite frankly, our culture, our society needs more of that, because we are on devices and on screens, and COVID got us, dialed out of just interpersonal relationships. And great communities are built on people coming together. And where do they come together these days? But they're local restaurants.
I mean,
that's like
restaurants
the
are gathering
last.
places. They are social gathering places.
Yeah.
People usually break bread together. It's a social experience.
Yes.
100%. Whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's a first time business meeting, it doesn't matter. It's where people come together to gather.
Yeah.
And, to your point, like last year we did a lot as a corporation. We built this new corporate training store, and, that was very time consuming for us. And we also did a major POS overhaul in late summer, which was needed and overdue, and a massive undertaking for my team, because I'm very methodical when it comes to things like that. And, through December and the gauntlet I've laid down to my team and to our franchisees, like, this is our year. Like, 2026 is our year of optimization. We're not doing anything new. Like I am protecting my time and my energy and my actions. And like, I don't care about your shiny objects or this, that, or the other. Like, I've got my tech stack where I want it, where I have trying to been getting since 2012. Like, we are optimized. We have a few things that we're working now with, like large language learning models, things that we couldn't do before without the APIs we have today. But what I'm really preaching to my team and to our operators is like, we're going to win with the fundamentals. Like,
Amen.
we have the tech now, and it's behind the scenes. It's not in your face. Where it is in your face, it's not intrusive. It's not anti-hospitality.
Mm.
Um, and so like the my mantra that I'm telling my team and our operators is like, consistency creates loyalty. Loyalty creates frequency and retention.
Yep.
And those are the fuel for success. Period. We're going to win doing the fundamentals of hospitality because, you know, let's be honest, most of our team members are what I call life transition employees, high school to college, college to career,
Yeah.
pick up some lifers along the way.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't have the same soft skills you and I had growing up. They don't know how to make eye contact. They don't know how to engage with people. And so teaching those soft skills is hard and showing, but customers, they feel that, right? I think
Yeah.
they feel that when they come in, whether you're
Yes.
genuine or not genuine. And, you know, in and of itself, hospitality is human derived, right? So therefore fallible. Like, we're gonna make mistakes. It's really, how do you show up when you do make that mistake, right? And
Mm.
we preach service recovery like to the 9,000th degree. Like, good, bad, or indifferent. Like, we respond to every piece of feedback, every review for the entire chain every single day.
Love that.
We listen.
Yeah. Yep.
And then take corrective action based on the listening. And then we have a lot of sentiment analysis and other things built into these mechanisms. So allows us to make very focused, targeted strikes operationally. But yeah, that's where tech runs in the background.
Which is where it should be.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned overhauling your point of sale. So we were introduced by Max Gabriel at Square.
Correct.
They've been making big investments into their point of sale and
Absolutely
have, you know, their velocity is pretty impressive, their tech velocity and what they're doing. We've been impressed with them. Talk a little bit about that relationship, why you chose them.
Absolutely. So we were on a cloud-based solution before we moved over to Square for franchising, Square for restaurants in August. From an enterprise management standpoint, that software had everything we needed.
Mm-hmm.
But there is two things. There's no such thing as a perfect solution.
Right.
It's how do you manipulate the software within the confines of architecture for what you're trying to achieve with your brand.
Right.
And then how do they play well with others? Because no POS vendor in this world can provide the entire vertical and be efficient at it. Like, you can be really great at two things. You can be good at one or two others, and the rest are just going to be checking a box with some mediocre bullshit.
Yeah.
So what we were really lacking was a robust API and integrations, and like all of the different things we had were working, but it was like through scraping and webhooks and like all this complex things where they were all just breaking points, right? They were points of failure.
Mm.
And multiple menus because, you know, this menu didn't go to there, and you know, and we manage the menus for our franchisees so they can focus on operating. So it was a lot of work, and you know, we built out 3 or 4 systems trying to figure out what was the right fit for us. Some hybrid stuff, definitely not legacy systems, but and then I met with Square, was introduced through my relationship with Bikky to Ming, who's the head of food and beverage over at Square. And we had a conference call. And I'm like, if I can make your menu work, I can probably make the rest of it work. So with Square, we have been able to build an omni-channel menu that is universal to the whole brand that we control at the top and through Square for franchises, and then push that down to the store levels. So, and then they control their pricing because clearly we can't do that in the franchising business. But what that universal omni-channel menu does, it allows us to control the SEO. That menu is the same no matter whether you look in our native online ordering, whether you look at DoorDash or Uber or Grubhub or within the 4 walls of our restaurant. So we just toggle off and on things in the background depending on what channel it's served on. Like, you don't need all those modifier options in a digital ordering platform, right?
Right.
That you need in store, or there's certain things, certain options that our team members know is not an option. Like you can't really build a bacon and turkey club for 2 on a Kaiser roll. Just it won't work. Physics won't allow it to happen. So those things aren't shown on third parties, right?
Yeah.
So it allowed us to do that and then optimize our SEO as well. And then we have that integrated through our listings management tool, so that API. But and then we were able to consolidate our loyalty and gift card programs into under the Square umbrella. So those are a couple other stones, and all of that is controlled at the enterprise level, which allows us for better accounting and control measures, and making sure that my goal is no matter what Groucho's you go into, that experience with our menus and our programs will be universal. Like should be zero friction, right?
Yeah.
And then on the back end, I mean, we have, and what really sold me on Square was their API. It's open, it's not tolled, it's not taxed like a lot of these other POS companies do.
Yep.
And it allows us to bring in, there's 2 constructs in around technology is best of breed, which a lot of people talk about, and then there's best of fit. Sometimes best of fit can be best of breed, but sometimes it's not.
Right.
So I always vet for what's best of fit of our brand and best for our long-term objectives today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that has allowed us to integrate these partners that we had previously. So on our prior system, just for an example, in our native online ordering, we got a 99% acquisition for direct feedback through our relationship with Ovation, but we were getting nothing in store because it relied on the customer to do something, scan a QR code, whatever. Moving over to Square, that got automated through their API, so our feedback rates jumped up 70% in a week.
You said you use Ovation?
Correct.
Okay.
So our feedback rates jumped up 70% in a week. The visibility that gives my operations team into what's happening within the 4 walls was, eye-opening, right?
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, it was the API, it was the willingness to make a few things that didn't work the way they theoretically should have. And, they know that they have a lot of work to do in the franchise space. And I've been invited to be on their customer advisory board, and I'm talking with their AI teams, I'm talking with various teams. They're listening to build not the all-in-one, but to build the best of breed for that experience that you're trying to achieve with brands, and having those APIs that allow me. And they have all of those modules, like they have marketing modules, but we're far past what their marketing manuals could do now. So through our APIs with Bikky and MailChimp, all of that's happening. So we're still gathering all that data. And so for us, Square is it sits in the middle of our tech stack.
Yeah.
And it is the collection point for me. So you're not just getting the transactional data, we're getting all the contextual data, the where, the who, the why, the when, and then we can, with our APIs, we can measure all of these different components because we're getting all of the data now from every sales channel comes through Square.
Yeah.
So then that feeds into our CDP, which we can then segment, 6 ways from Sunday.
I've been so impressed with Ming.
He's a great dude.
I went up to Boston and had dinner with him a couple months ago at one of his restaurants for like 3 hours. He gave me way more time than I would have thought, and it was just an impressive conversation. And just seeing how his mind works, and seeing how much he genuinely cares about.
Yeah, he's one of those dudes you meet within like 30 seconds. You're like, this dude operates at a different level.
He does. He does. He does. Yeah. Okay, this is awesome. I love this. So tell me about, talk about Ovation. So Zach was supposed to be on this podcast a few weeks ago, and I was like racked out, like hard with, I guess it was the flu or whatever. So we had to in fact, I need to reschedule it. But I've heard a lot of great things about that dude, and I've heard a lot of great things about that product.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm a big fan. Such a big fan. I'm an investor in the company. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah, it's a low friction way for guests to give you feedback. It's emoji driven. So after 20 minutes after your order, we just send you a simple 5 emojis from, you can call it 1 to 5, but it's angry to happy face.
How do you send it? You send it through text, through the app?
It's through a text, through Ovation. It's a texting platform.
Okay.
So the API gets everything, goes to Square. Square then automates, and then we have some rules, like we don't text you every time you come. Like if you're a weekly customer, we're not going to text you every week. We're going to text you every 3 weeks. We don't want to be invasive. We respect people's privacy and don't want to be too invasive as a brand. But so that starts what we call, it's an interventional tool. It's a digital table touch is
Mm.
what really it is at the end of the day. So if you leave us the 5-star review, we're going to kind of nudge you to go leave us like, and we'll push you to Google or Yelp,
Mm.
depending on the market. The rest of them, I mean, Google owns over 70% of the review space in restaurants. So that's
Yeah.
where you should spend most of your effort. But if you're in a city like today in Charlotte, you should put your effort in Yelp because this is a big Yelp city.
Mm.
Um, and then if it's anything 4 or less, it starts a two-way conversation to allow our team to provide service recovery. And sometimes it's not a service recovery issue. It's just, you left napkins out of my bag on my
Mm.
to-go order.
Right.
Or, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, people get real angry if you leave a pickle out of a box. Like, I get it, man, but it's not going to ruin your day, bro. Like, I'm sorry. But I mean, 89% of the feedback is 5 stars,
Mm.
like 5% is 4 stars, and then it trickles down, and then we're less than 2% is 1 star. Or
So 94% is a 4 or above.
correct.
That's awesome. 89% are 5.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
And then, but that allows us to start a two-way conversation with that guest and provide real service recovery.
Yeah.
So, and then more importantly, what we found is people are just glad that we listen and respond. Like,
Mhm.
people say that all the time, and are like, you are one of the few brands that actually does take action after you do this. And then with all of that feedback coming in, it goes into a sentiment analysis tool, and we measure across like 9 key metrics: accuracy, speed, cleanliness, hospitality. I don't know them all off the top of my head, and each of them have sub metrics. And then we heat map the whole chain. So that allows, again, my operations team to make very targeted strikes, and it shrinks the period of pattern analysis like down tremendously.
Yeah. Tip of the hat to Zach and the crew. I'm looking forward to talking to him.
He's a great human.
That's what I hear.
He's a great human.
Yeah.
He's high energy, bro. Like,
I
get
know.
ready.
I know. I could tell because I got on the Zoom with him. I'm like, look, dude, like I didn't want to just email him and say I can't do this. So I got on like, man, I'm free. Yeah, I was like, yeah, you could tell high energy. I've heard many good things about him. So Zach, I look forward to having you on here soon. Great conversation about that. There has been this term I've been hearing recently, and you just said it. I actually literally talked to a customer on the way here that was talking about this is the year, like we are focused on we're not looking at any more shiny new bells and whistles this year. Like because there's been a lot again. Look, I mean, you could raise money for a decade for free,
Yeah.
right? VCs could. And they put it into these, a lot of it was put into restaurant tech that was created by people that had never actually run restaurants that created something that they thought this is what restaurants should do. And it sounded great. There's been people have been burned by overpromised, underdelivered sometimes.
I would say more than sometimes, but
I was trying to be, generous. But this term tech fatigue,
Yeah.
I've been hearing. And I think that most people have seen, okay, like we've got this giant tech stack of too many things and it doesn't talk and it's just a lot of stuff and a lot of it's, when all of your costs are going up, you start looking and going, how much are we actually spending on all this different tech? And
correct.
It can get crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think like most brands, we all did what we had to do to get through COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, we were fortunate. We had digital online ordering before COVID, and we had curbside functionality. We just literally toggled it on and operationalized it when they shut our dining rooms down. But we boarded all the third parties. We had to bring in a middleware, to get all that stuff coming into your systems to find the efficiencies in how to operate that, and learning through all of these things. And then how do you deal with the dispute management side of third party and brand relevance in third party and reputation management in third party? And then you got KDS and you got loyalty and you got this and you got that and you got this and you got that. And you're right. Like, the last thing I want and the last thing my operators certainly want is another dashboard. Like, we're dashboard heavy. Like, bro, we are good.
I don't need dashboards.
Don't need any more. Like, yes, corporately, we probably need a few more than they do at the store level because we're looking at data at a different level, right? But it's become burdensome. Like, and then So that's, I mean, that was part of the main driving force behind what we're doing with Square is like, let's consolidate some of this stuff, and we're continuing to consolidate with Square. We just migrated a third of our chain over to Square Payroll, and another product that they're getting ready to launch that we're beta testing. I can't really tell you what it is, but it's a game changer for us at the store level, operationally speaking, not so much front of the house stuff, but
Yeah.
and so how do you get better at those things, and how do you consolidate those things, and then what was cost effective and made sense 3 years ago may not make sense today.
Yeah.
um you know uh, Middlewares are going away. Most of the POS companies now have direct integrations. Like, I mean, we got rid of middleware when we moved to Square. Like, it's a direct API integration. When I 86 something in my menu in Square, it's 86 on DoorDash. I
Yep.
don't think about it anymore, right?
Yeah.
Before, you had to do that in two different places on two different menus. Um, and is it cost effective? What is the ROI? And there's continues to be new technology coming out. That some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's too early, especially in the AI
AI.
space.
Yeah.
Um, and listen, dude, I'm a huge beta partner. I've tested a lot of software, and I tested in my own stores, by design, and to find out if it makes fit for our brand or if we're too early. We tested an AI product recently, and we had to shelve it because, like, I believe that it is the future of this industry, but like we're just too early, and our menu's
Really.
too
What did
complex.
it do? You don't have to say who it was.
It was AI phone ordering, taking.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But that's such a complex thing. Like,
Yeah.
taking your voice and turning it into a modifier and then injecting it via an API. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of nuance to that, and our menu is just too large and too complicated and too many modifiers. So, there's a lot of learning that needs to happen around that space. But I do definitely believe. I mean, every Bojangles now has AI ordering, and it works pretty well. But there's a human there to intervene at any given second.
They have it in their corporate stores.
Okay.
They don't have it in their franchise store, or a lot of the franchisees don't use it.
Okay.
It's
I guess
been
I
interesting.
don't go that often, but I guess the ones I've
Yeah.
been to are corporate stores.
Yeah, they're corporate. They're corporate. I mean, Bojangles is like half, like, I don't know, 400 or 500 corporate, 400 or 500 franchise. It's an interesting thing because if you get it right, and it doesn't, it just you have to really get that right for it, because you start to lose the experience for the guest
Correct.
of that human touch. So that having the human being able to intervene, I think, is so key there, because if the more we push to this everything automated and screens, we lose that human to human connection that people they need it somewhere.
Correct.
And that's an interesting confluence of that stuff merging together and figuring what's the right balance, I think.
I mean, I think ultimately you have to listen to your guests. They will tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, while we were testing it, I mean, we ran it in a couple stores, and then I was like, all right, I'm just going to send a flat out survey. So, I mean, we surveyed our entire guest base, and we got hundreds of responses back, and the answer was clear. Like, it's too early. I mean, it's too early. And so you got to listen to your guests, but I mean, you still have to continue and adapt and evolve. And
Yeah.
like I said, the stuff we're doing behind the scenes now is more like AI and machine learning, and automating, like, daily pars and daily, like, if you could get a sheet emailed to you every morning that says you need to cut 14 pounds of turkey, 8 pounds of ham, 6 pounds of roast beef, and you need to pack 600 cups of 45 sauce, and it's 90% accurate, wouldn't you want that?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
roll that data into a truck order, and then so you apply your institutional knowledge as well, right? These are the things where I think automation makes a lot of sense, because it's just math.
Yeah.
It's just math.
Yeah.
Math is true. It doesn't lie if you get the formulas right.
You ever heard of 5 Out?
Oh, I do.
Okay, you know them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandon McCray, he came on the podcast. I like what they're doing. They're doing a lot of that
Correct.
kind of stuff. One thing you said earlier, I mean, I've experienced with my kids working in restaurants. I think every teenager should work in a restaurant.
Restaurant or retail, one or the other.
One or the other. I like restaurants a lot because that's where you're really going to have to push in a environment, and it may just be for a couple of hours, where there's just a lot of stuff going on.
It's organized chaos.
It's organized chaos, and it helps you learn to adapt to dealing with a lot of things at one time. And if you can build that skill set. I mean, it's in retail, but not maybe as much where you're like, Friday night at a freaking restaurant and there's like customers coming in and all it like it's a lot.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I think it's really good for teenagers and young people, particularly in today's time. My daughter worked at a pizza restaurant here a couple of summers ago, and she was a hostess. And I had never really thought about this, but she's like, "I'm answering the phone all the time." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, we don't talk on the phone. Like I was like, "Oh my God," like it's a generation that was raised without like there was no home phone.
Yeah.
There was no, and their communication is,
They want to text. They don't want to talk on the phone.
and so it's important. I wonder about that with how it must be. I mean, that's something you have to train now that you didn't have to train, which is how to sit there and look somebody in the eye and communicate with them without looking down or being anxious about actually talking. And I mean, I told my kids this this summer we were having this conversation. I'm like, hold eye contact for 1 second longer than you're used to. Like, just do that.
Right.
I want you to practice doing that. And that's hard for them.
Yeah.
But very valuable. Because you and I are used to it, and our generation and everybody older than us is used to it. And if we lose that, we start to lose just a lot of the just interpersonal human connection that we flat out need, especially when we're surrounded with so much technology.
To be in hospitality, especially the front of the house, like you have to be able to pick up on the silent social cues that are not communicated otherwise.
Yep.
And then if you're not looking, you can't see those. Like,
yeah.
I never take meetings in the restaurant because I can't focus on the meeting. Like,
Right.
I'm surveying the room constantly. Like, why don't they have drinks? Where's the refills? Why hasn't the server been by? Like, this is how my brain works. And like, I do not take meetings in the restaurant ever.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. It's, those cues, I go to this coffee shop in Waxhaw called the Daily Grind. They got one in Lancaster and one in Waxhaw. And really, I mean, I like their coffee, but the reason I go is because they do such a good job with a young team of making me feel welcome. It's just unfortunately rare these days, but it is so palpable and meaningful that I'm like, I go there every day. I don't even like paying for retail coffee because it's too expensive right now, but I'm paying for the experience.
Correct.
It's exactly what I'm spending that money on. It's just feeling like they know me, they care that I'm here, they engage me. They'll just ask simple questions like, "Well, how's your day going?" Like,
that provides value to you.
Huge
value
huge
to
value.
you. So you're willing to pay that premium for that value of acknowledgement.
That's exactly it. Because there's one thing that's common across every human being is that we want to feel validated.
Correct.
We want to feel like we matter. And it doesn't take a whole lot these days to make people feel like they matter.
No.
How does Groucho's embed that into your culture as you continue to grow, especially through franchising?
That is such a challenge, especially in franchising, because there's this whole construct of joint employer liability, right? So we have to be careful around how we do things. But we, like most franchisors, take the approach of we train the trainers. So we train the franchise owner and their key leadership team. And part of this new corporate training facility that we opened, and now my former director of operations is the general manager there, and he is the gatekeeper to you getting a franchise.
Okay.
So it is learning and instilling those things and teaching them and ingraining them, and it's messaging from us from top down, talking about the focusing on the fundamentals of hospitality. And I mean, we are just constantly talking about the fundamentals of hospitality, whether it's as simple as eye contact or greeting or how do you acknowledge a table if you're in the weeds and make them still feel welcome and wanted. And so a lot of coaching from the top down. And I don't think there's a perfect recipe, and there's certainly not a perfect solution for distributing this content. And everybody has bad days.
Mhm.
And, how do you accommodate for that? And, I think, especially like in my stores, like I don't believe in the construct of perfection, like, because then what do you do?
Mm. Yeah.
For me, it's the pursuit of excellence.
Pursuit of excellence. Yeah.
And how do you make that the expectation? The
Mhm.
pursuit of excellence should be the expectation.
Yeah.
And I raise my kids on the concepts of expectations. Like, here's your expectations. I'm not going to micromanage this for you. Like, go do it, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same way I treat my team members. Like, it's just, here's the objectives. Here's the, I'm not going to tell you how to do your job or provide that service. I mean, we will provide you coaching if we clearly see something's wrong, but um and then identifying that, and the tools we have now allow us to identify it earlier.
What are some other who are some other people in this industry and other brands or outside the industry that you admire?
Dude, there's a lot of people. I mean, Zach Oates would be one. I mean, he and I have a quarterly call every quarter, catch up, talk, chop, whatever the case may be. We might talk about family, we might talk about business, we might talk about competition. I mean, who knows? Rev Ciancia is a really good friend of mine. So he's super plugged into the space. Anthony Presley, I don't know if you know him, with CBS North Star and Time Forge.
Yeah. I've met him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really good people. Dude, I
I've
mean,
heard that.
huh?
I've heard that. I've never taught Anthony, but I've heard that. He started Time Forge a long time, about the same time we got Schedule Fly going.
Yeah. So he does that, and he's also the CTO for CBS North Star.
CBS North Star.
So Jeremy Julian at CBS is great people. Dude, I mean, I have so many friends, like, and business acquaintances, and I mean, some are just friends, but I mean, some people, like, I can pick up the owner and call the owners of these companies and just have a conversation. I
Yeah.
mean, Abhinav Kapoor, who's the CEO and founder of Bikky, dude, we are great friends.
What is I don't know Bikky. You've
Bikky
mentioned that a few times.
Bikky is a customer data platform.
Okay.
So it's where we bring in all of our transactional contextual data, and this is where we're measuring retention, frequency, acquisition, onboarding cycles. It's where we do all of our segmentation for email marketing. So that's where we build our automations and journeys. So welcome email campaigns, new regular email campaigns, lapse, churn customers. It allows us to understand our guests at a very, very deep level.
Okay.
We layer in lots of demographic information too. So we use that to build ICP profiles to understand our guests. And if we're looking at a new market, we can say, okay, I mean, we know that our ICP is a 42-year-old white woman who has 3 children. And, so that helps us kind of delineate certain, but it also controls the messaging you're sending out. And then we can look at that by location too.
Yeah.
And it's really, again, how do you want to look at your data? How do you want to segment that data? I could filter it down to vegetarian customers that only eat on Saturday nights and send you an email. Like, that's how granular we can get with this data.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, Bikky is our source of truth.
Okay. How do I spell Bikky?
Bikky.
I mean, I've heard of it. I just didn't know what it is. Okay.
Yeah, but Ab and I are great friends.
Yeah, I'd like to talk. I'd like to connect with him. Maybe have him on this podcast. That's very interesting. So
I mean, it's the way of. It's the best go-to-market, I think, for restaurants right now. I mean, how can you talk to your guests if you don't understand who your guest is and their frequency and their retention and their average order value? And like, so we're a very guest-centric organization. So like, when you give us a review or you give us a feedback, like, we immediately look who you are. And, all guests matter, and the response we give matters. But if you're a guest that spends $3,000 a year for me, you might get a little bit different response than somebody who's only been into the store once.
When you say that when they review, you look and see who they are?
Correct.
What does that mean?
Like, we go into our Bikky platform and try to get an understanding of who this guest is and what their value is to the organization.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So if I am interested in opening a franchise location and I want to open one in, I don't know, Raleigh or something. Do you have any in Raleigh?
We did. We didn't renew.
You didn't renew?
Yeah.
Because the lease came up and it was.
Yeah.
Okay. That was what I was gonna get to, is like talk about real estate and finding the right real estate for helping them find the right real estate and helping them negotiate a lease and all that kind of stuff. It seems like real estate is, I mean, it is tough.
It is tough, especially in certain markets. Like, you go down to the coast of like Charleston's bananas.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, downtown Charlotte's bananas.
Yeah.
there's a certain threshold. I mean, there's a formula that works. Like rent should be this percentage, labor should be this percentage, cost of goods should be for this percentage. Your lease rate is fixed once you
Mm.
sign that deal. You have a little bit of control over labor, but I mean that should be relative to demand, and cost of goods is the same. Like, yes, if you exercise strict portion control and you're with our pricing models and strategies, then yes, it should work. But rent has to fall into a certain bucket to make those math work, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. And I mean, we have the gamut. I mean, I have some stores that are fortunate to have some of our older units have really good leases, and I mean, we have some stores that are paying a lot of money to be there. And so, yeah, it's a huge part of the deal. But I mean, the lease negotiation itself is pretty easy. We've done it a lot.
Yeah.
It's pretty formulaic. It's the market conditions are, and you can look at all the traffic counts you want, but that doesn't necessarily mean the cars are stopping. So, I mean, there's no exact science to this. We can understand what our competitors doing with that data all exists. I think it's like allergy testing. It's not an exact science, right?
Yeah.
You have to lean in a little bit onto intuition, a little bit of institutional knowledge, and then take in the data, and hopefully you make a right decision. But typically we lean on the franchisee because you should be from there. Like, I'm not going to come to Waxhaw and tell you where to put a Groucho's.
Yeah.
I'm not from there.
Right.
You are.
Yeah. Yep. But I might come up with an idea where you're like, lease is, 10 points higher than it needs to be on your.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what the math is, and I mean,
Yeah.
if the math works, it works.
But you're in a lot of, you're in some good, like small towns or small growing, Georgetown.
Yeah.
My mom grew up there. I
Okay.
love Georgetown. But you're going to get
You're going to get a better lease rate
much
there
better lease rate
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
than
Yeah.
Mount Pleasant. Yeah, completely different.
Do you have anything in the Charleston area?
Yeah, we have one in Mount Pleasant and
You
one
do?
in West Ashley.
Okay. Yeah.
We were downtown for 20 years. Like, you can't afford to be on Meeting Street anymore. Like, unless you're Gucci, like, it's just not going to happen.
No. Have you ever been to Hall's Chop House?
Yeah, we have one in Columbia too.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I had Tommy and Billy Hall on this podcast.
Right, yeah.
And I got to eat there finally a couple months ago. It was just, I'd always heard about it.
It's pretty legendary.
Pretty legendary. Yeah. Do you know George and Amanda at Vicious Biscuit?
No.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Do you know Vicious Biscuit?
Oh, I know of them, yeah.
Okay. All right. Y'all would connect really well, I think. Amanda's like, she's CTO and dialed into their tech stack really well and just really sharp. So who are your competitors?
I mean, nationally, it's always going to be like the Jimmy Johns and Jersey Mikes of this world. And the McAllisters probably would closely align.
Yeah.
And then there's always going to be some local place. People associate deli with sub shops, and they're two different things.
That's why I asked that question, because
they're two different things.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people come in and I'm like, I want a foot long BMT with this, that, and the other. And I'm like, you need to go down the street. Like, bro, we're the meat and potatoes of the deli business. Like, if you want alfalfa sprouts, Groucho's isn't your place, man.
Yeah. Okay.
We're just lean, quality, whole muscle proteins. Great bread. All of our bread comes out of the Northeast. I'm sorry, but the best bread's baked in the Northeast. So there's always going to be something local. And sometimes it's not even like in the same segment of the industry. Like, it's just a competitor that has good foot traffic, right? And I'm working with one of our vendors now on testing a tool they're building for market and competitor analysis. And I've always struggled with this concept because, like, I'm aware of what my competitors are doing, but I don't know that it dictates at the end of the day what we're doing. Like, we're many decades older than most of them. And, like, we're not going to change who we are because, I mean, look at Quiznos. They tried to chase Subway, and look what happened. I mean, that wasn't the only contributing factor by any measure, but, like, you can't have a 13% discount, right, and be profitable in this industry.
There's a book. I was just talking to our team about this. We had our annual team meeting. There's a book called Different, Escaping the Competitive Herd. I read it about 15 years ago, and it's one of those books where I'm like, this aligns. It's written by this lady named Youngmi Moon, and she's a marketing professor at Harvard, and it talks about maverick brands and brands that go against not go against what the competition is doing, but ignore the competition.
Be the zebra, not the horse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I talked about like what she talks about in that book is you have like for cars, the Camry doesn't have these things that the Accord has. So they're like, oh, we should put these in here. And then the Accord doesn't have these things that the Camry has. And it's like the same car. And I mean, look at the car. And it's just like everything's the same.
Correct.
Even Jeep Wagoneer had this amazing opportunity to come back. They came back out with a Wagoneer, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, the wood panels from like the old school, and they just basically it looks like a Suburban.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? Like, because when you ignore your competition and you really lock into like what drives us, what are we about?
Correct.
Who cares what they're doing? Let's focus on what we're really good at and what we care about. And if you do that well and you have a relevant product in the way you serve that product, you're going to build a tribe of very loyal followers.
Correct.
You're not going to serve the whole world.
Mm.
And she talked about that in that book about the Mini Cooper. They're like, a lot of you are going to hate us. All right, cool. But a lot of you are going to really love us.
Yeah.
And as long as we can get enough of you to love us, and then, and you build this loyal following or whatever. And I've always felt like, you just have to have the confidence and faith and trust in what you're doing and lean into that and just not, almost put blinders on and not worry about like, oh, well, they're now doing this. Maybe we should do that. Like that is the fastest way to become irrelevant, in my opinion, because you're just like everybody else. And then can you compete with everybody else that has 10 times? I mean, like if you go try to compete directly with Jersey Mike's, that's, like, good luck.
I'm not
right?
trying to out protein anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the latest trend, right? It was like, how many grams of protein can we slap in a bowl? Like, I'm not trying to do that. That's not who we are. That's not what we want to be. And, most of those national brands are all now owned by private equity or venture capital. Like, so it's a different experience. Like there's different driving forces behind the scenes there now.
I say good if I'm you when that happens, because I mean, God bless them. Like private equity is going to go in there. It's all going to be driven by
Greed.
Numbers in a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
right? Like how do we cut, like, oh, we used to have this many, pieces of turkey on that sub and it's going to be like half that. And maybe we'll throw them more lettuce or something or whatever. Like,
how do we value engineer this?
How do we value engineer this? Which is a very different approach than a third generation family owned business can take, because you can be patient.
Technically fourth. My partner's son now runs the Mount Pleasant store.
That's so awesome. That's freaking incredible.
Yeah.
I love that. That is amazing. I'm trying to think. There was something else I wanted to ask you about before we. I know we probably need to wrap here in a minute. Oh, yeah. So you mentioned a few folks in the industry. Are there do you read a lot? Do you listen to podcasts? Like, where do you learn?
I'm a micro reader. Like,
what does that mean?
Like, I mostly digest small bits of information.
Okay.
I might read 1 or 2 books a year. I'm not a big book reader.
Okay.
It's hard for me to commit that sort of bandwidth to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually when I read, I'm a solitary reader.
Okay.
If I'm reading something like that, and that bandwidth doesn't exist in my life right now.
Yeah.
So I digest a lot of industry news every day. So I'm aware of the pulse. I have lots of conversations with people within the industry. I'm fortunate enough to sit on a few advisory boards now, so that allows me some insight that other people might not have. And what's coming, what's being developed, what's happening on the M&A side in our business. Kind of a side story. Several years ago, I was on a podcast, and the guy asked me, I had just gotten back from FS Tech like 4 or 5 years ago. And he's like, well, what'd you think? And I said, well, 40% of the room needs to be consumed by 60% of the room. Like, there's too many people doing the same damn thing. But yeah, I read lots of information. Kind of my day is like, the first part of my morning is my time. So that's exercising, meditating, doing what I do. And I get to the office an hour before anybody else. And like the first few hours of my day are deep work. Like that's when I'm doing my focus things. And then after that, I'm reading information. I'm catching up on emails. I'll always find some sort of rabbit hole to go down on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, but it's a great place to find stuff that you might not otherwise read. Those algorithms feed you stuff that
Yeah.
that understands what you're looking for. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it.
So you're an early riser,
Oh, I am. Yeah.
like a 5 a.m. early riser? Or
5 to 6 a.m.
yeah.
Now that I don't have to drive anybody to school, I've gained another hour back in my day. So that's always nice.
You meditate. What do you do for exercise?
I walk 4 to 5 miles a day with a weighted vest, and then I have a Pilates studio at my office.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good. Balance is key.
Yeah, man, I'm too old to be lifting weights and tearing things. So,
Well, I mean, balance is key. Like you can get burned out in this industry it's a lot. Like
oh
it's
yeah,
a grind. Like it could burn you out if you don't have like the proper,
my walk time is like where I process.
yeah,
That's where I process most of the things I have going on in my life, personally and professionally.
weighted. How much weight do you have?
16 is my normal. I
Okay.
have a few, but 16 is
So you just strap that on and walk for.
yeah.
That's awesome. I like that. Yeah. We see a lot of those these days.
Yeah, man, it's a great way to get cardio without abusing your body so, by running.
So the last thing I do want to ask you about is just overall consumer sentiment right now. I mean, prices have gone up a lot the last few years, and you hear affordability mentioned a lot. Where do y'all sit in that space? Because you're still like, you're not, somebody's not going to come in and spend $100 on, 2 plates of food with y'all,
No,
obviously.
no. I mean, our average ticket's like $21.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
I mean, are they still? How was the volume? Is it changing? Is it decreasing? Or
I mean, it was a mixed bag in 2025.
yeah,
I mean, I had stores that were up 20%, and I had stores that were down 8%. I mean, as a mean average, we were slightly up for the year, which most people will tell you for 2025, flat was up.
yeah,
I
sure,
mean, I read the same things. I mean, there's been a lot of bankruptcy. There's a lot of
yeah,
reorganizations
yeah,
happening.
yeah.
And customers are fatigued with pricing.
Mhm.
The free for all during COVID and all that extra money, that's gone. I mean, that's long gone. And I mean, groceries are crazy expensive, dude. Like crazy.
Groceries are crazy expensive right now.
And then all the other things that we're having to pay for. I mean, don't get me going on health insurance. We could do 6 hours on that.
Mm,
But I think value isn't just price. It goes back to what we were talking about, the art of the perceived relationship and providing that place of comfort for you when you go to the daily grind. Like that familiarity, that's worth $1.50 extra for a cup of coffee for you.
sure is.
So, and that's why I think people have to focus on the fundamentals of hospitality and getting back to, you know, we're here to serve you to make you feel warm and welcome and all the things that come with hospitality. There's no one word for it, right? It's a combination of things. And like everything else, there's no silver bullet. It's just repetitive lead bullets after one after another. And then pivoting on what does work and what doesn't work. I mean, sometimes I make decisions that are wrong, but being able to recognize that and pivot, I think, is the more important part.
I had Jason Ingermanson on the other day. He's the largest Freddy's frozen custard franchisee, but he's got several other concepts. One of them's called Mocha's Coffee and Eatery. They've got like 5 corporate locations. They're opening the 6th, and now they've got their first franchise. I mean, he's been doing this for decades. Just a very similar approach of like discipline,
Right.
learn from Freddy's the processes and systems so they can scale up Mocha's in a measured way. But one of the things he talked about, which I thought was really interesting, was helping somebody that's, let's say, in the kitchen making a sandwich understand that it's not just this is how much meat you put on and portion control. It's like understanding that what you're creating here is a very valuable part of the experience in that customer's day, where you're creating something that hopefully, it nourishes them.
You're providing sustenance to
You're
someone.
providing sustenance, and that, the idea that, and I believe this, that the customer can
Sense it.
sense that if it's
100%.
made with intention and every part of the process is done with intention, you may be I'm very perceptive to that's why I know, like, but you don't have to be that dialed in and that, but you subconsciously you do feel that. You don't know why sometimes I want to keep going back to this place, but there's so much of that.
That's why I use the word perceive, because you really don't know what it is,
Yes,
but you perceive something.
that's right. That's right.
I can make you a bacon and turkey club according to Groucho's spec, and it's going to look like shit.
Yep.
or I can take an extra 20 seconds and cut that thing into beautiful quarters and give you a presentation.
Yes, that's exactly right. Well, it's good to hear that. I mean, this is the conversation we're having a lot now, and I'm so thankful for it because hospitality at its core is just making people feel welcome and appreciated. And it's why you've got like Will Gadara's book, Unreasonable Hospitality.
One of my
is
favorites.
not just being read in hospitality right now. It's being read everywhere
Yeah.
because we kind of recognize in our culture that we've sort of lost that. And the bar is so
I
ridiculously
mean, one of the greatest
low.
lines in that book is, a customer's perception is their reality. Right,
That's right.
wrong, or indifferent,
Yes,
it is their reality.
that's right. That's right.
And that's the lens you have to take when you're dealing with these things.
Yep. Yep. What else should we get into? Anything else before we wrap this up?
Dude, I mean, I think
Anything
we could
else on
rap
your
for
mind?
hours. But
We could. We could, man. Well, we're going to actually get to go. over
yeah,
there.
we're about to feast.
I've never been. I've never been to
You're
a
about to
breakfast.
feast.
I'm very much looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. You a sweet tea drinker?
Well, I grew up here, so
Okay,
yes,
yes.
I've had. I will take down some sweet tea.
We won best in the state of South Carolina. That's hard to do, bro.
I'm in. I'm in. Count me in. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Go to your Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you're listening on. Give us that 5-star rating, because the more 5-star ratings we get, the more this content gets in front of more people that love hearing this type of content. Y'all are an awesome audience. Dude, I mean, like, wow.
Thank you.
What a great conversation. Thank you for...
It's my favorite podcast ever. So
Seriously?
yeah, man. I've done a few, and this one's up there.
Oh, man. I appreciate that. That kind of gave me chills. I appreciate that a lot. And thanks for... You drove an hour and a half to get there for those, watching and listening. He came all the way here. So thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Excited.
That's a wrap, y'all. Next episode coming soon. See ya.